If you've ever thought about ordering a mystery box from the dark web, don't. My friend did, and I wish I could forget what happened. I know the temptation. The idea that you'll open it and find something rare, shocking, maybe even valuable. But the truth? Some boxes should never be opened, because sometimes what comes out doesn't go back in. I'm not here to tell you an urban legend or some story I found online. This happened to me, and I'm still dealing with the fallout. I've replayed that night over and over, trying to figure out the exact moment we crossed the line. Maybe it was when Ethan hit order. Maybe it was when we tore the tape from the box. What was inside, God, I wish I could tell you it was just junk. But it wasn't. It was the beginning of something we never should have touched. And it started on a completely normal night. Ethan and I had this routine. Late nights in his basement, controllers in hand, energy drinks scattered across the carpet, laughing at dumb YouTube compilations until the sun threatened to rise. We weren't out partying or chasing thrills. We were just two guys wasting time in the glow of a TV screen. Or at least that's how I saw it. Ethan was different. He always needed something bigger, something reckless, like boredom was a disease eating him alive. That night wasn't supposed to be any different. We'd just finished another round of Call of Duty when Ethan, restless as ever, opened his laptop and started scrolling through forums. His grin widened as he leaned closer to the screen. "Dude, you ever heard of these dark web mystery boxes?" he asked, eyes gleaming. I rolled my eyes. "Yeah, they're scams. People get cat hair in a shoebox and call it cursed." He chuckled. "It's just hype. Half the time it's just junk." "Or the other half," I shot back. "It ruins your life." The words slipped out, half joking, but the air felt heavier after I said them. Ethan just laughed, the way he always did when I played the cautious one. He thrived on the dare, the forbidden, like rules were just suggestions meant to be broken. And before I could talk him down, before I could point out how stupid it was, Ethan clicked order. That was the moment everything ordinary about our nights ended. It showed up a week later, left on Ethan's porch like any other delivery. No knock at the door, no mail truck rumbling away, just a box sitting there as if it had been waiting for us all along. At first glance, it didn't look like much. Just a medium-sized cardboard box, edges worn soft, duct tape crisscrossed over the seams. But the longer I stared, the more wrong it felt. The cardboard was darkened in blotches, like water had seeped through and dried into stains. A sour metallic smell clung to it, faint but sharp enough to sting my nose. There was no shipping label, no barcode, not even a return address. Just plain brown cardboard, anonymous and silent. "It looks like trash someone pulled from a dumpster," I muttered. Ethan grinned, hefting it into his arms like a prize. "That's the point. Authentic." Authentic. The word made my stomach turn. We carried it into his basement, the place that had always felt like our safe zone. Now, with the box between us, the air seemed colder. I kept waiting for Ethan to second-guess himself, to admit it was sketchy and maybe we should just toss it in the trash. But if anything, his excitement only grew. "It's probably just junk," he said again, almost daring the box to prove him wrong. I wanted to tell him to stop, to put it away, to forget it. But I didn't, because some part of me needed to know too, needed to see. It looked so ordinary. That's what scared me the most. Ethan tore at the tape with shaking hands, and together we opened it. The flaps peeled back with a dry groan, and for a second all I saw was darkness inside. Then the basement light caught on the contents, and my stomach sank. The first thing Ethan pulled out was a flip phone, one of those old clunky models, its screen spider-webbed with cracks. The battery was held in place with electrical tape, wires exposed like veins. He turned it over in his hands, grinning. "Vintage tech," he said. "Might even have Snake on it." I didn't laugh. Next came a VHS tape, the plastic scratched and worn with nothing but a sloppy red X written across the label. Ethan waved it like it was some forgotten treasure. "Bet this is just some guy's bootleg movie." I was already shaking my head. Something about the ink, the way it looked half smeared, half burned into the plastic. It felt intentional. Then Ethan reached deeper and pulled out a small velvet pouch. He loosened the drawstring, tipped it over his palm, and a dozen yellowed teeth spilled out, clicking softly against each other. He laughed, actually laughed, probably just some creep trying to scare us. Or warn us, I muttered, unable to take my eyes off the teeth. Human. They had to be. The last item was a folded scrap of paper. Ethan opened it, and in jagged handwriting, barely legible through the smudges, was an address. No name, no instructions, just a place. The air felt heavy, charged, like we weren't supposed to be holding any of it. My skin crawled with the urge to shove it all back in the box, tape it shut, and never speak of it again. But Ethan leaned back, smirking. "So, what do we check first, the phone or the tape?" Before I could answer, he was already plugging in the phone. The flip phone buzzed to life with a weak, stuttering glow like it hadn't seen power in years. For a second it just sat there, screen bleeding pale light into the dark basement. Then it rang. The sound was shrill, metallic, too loud for such a small device. No caller ID, just the word incoming. Ethan shot me a look that said, "This is hilarious," and flipped it open. "Hello?" At first there was nothing, just silence thick enough to make my skin prickle. Then faintly the sound of breathing. Slow, heavy, distorted, like someone was exhaling directly into the microphone. Ethan's smirk faltered. "Who is this?" he asked. The breathing grew louder, warped with static, until finally a voice slipped through, whispered, broken, almost swallowed by the crackle. "Don't look at the tape." The words hung in the air like smoke. My stomach clenched. Ethan blinked, then laughed nervously, waiting for more. But before he could respond, the phone screen dimmed, flickered, and died. He pulled the battery out and back in, but nothing. The power was gone, drained completely. "That was weird," he said, tossing it onto the couch like it was nothing more than a prank call. "But come on, if this is some creepy ARG, the tape's where the real fun is." My mouth was dry. Everything in me screamed to stop, to take the warning seriously. But Ethan was already digging the VHS out of the box, the red X catching the light like a wound. I wanted to walk away. Instead, I followed him to the old VCR, because deep down, I needed to know what was on that tape. Ethan dug out the old VCR from a stack of dusty electronics shoved under the TV. The thing rattled when he plugged it in, like it resented being woken up after all these years. He slid the tape in and the screen bloomed into static. At first it looked like nothing, just grainy snow hissing through the speakers. Then the picture sharpened into a dimly lit room. The walls were bare, the floor concrete, a single light bulb swinging overhead. The camera stayed fixed for a while, like it was waiting. Then it moved, slowly, deliberately, panning across the empty space until it stopped on a figure. A person sat tied to a chair, wrists bound, duct tape across their mouth. Their shoulders trembled with each muffled sob. Ethan leaned forward, whispering, "Okay, that's unsettling." The camera didn't cut. It zoomed, inch by inch, closer and closer until the gagged person's eyes filled the screen, wide, bloodshot, wet with tears. The sound warped, a low drone bleeding under their choked whimpers. I felt my stomach twist. "Turn it off," I said. "Ethan, seriously." Before I could finish, the tape glitched. The screen tore into lines, colors bleeding, and when it snapped back, my heart stopped. The camera now showed our living room. Same sagging couch, same lopsided lamp, same carpet stain we'd spilled soda on last year. The only thing missing was us. Ethan let out a shaky laugh. "Okay, that's a good trick, gotta admit." I couldn't breathe. The longer I stared, the more I was convinced it wasn't just like our living room, it was ours. Then the camera tilted ever so slightly toward the far corner of the room. The screen fizzed, cut to static. Ethan exhaled hard, forcing a grin. Glitch, that's all. But his knuckles were white where he gripped the remote. I knew better. Something had seen us. And from that moment on, Ethan wasn't the same. Over the next few days, Ethan stopped being Ethan. He barely texted me, and when he did, it was short, clipped, nothing like the endless strings of memes and jokes we usually traded. When I finally went over, I found him in the basement, hunched in front of the TV, the VHS hissing faint static as the tape looped again. He wouldn't look away. His eyes were bloodshot, dark hollows carved beneath them like he hadn't slept in days. The air stank of sweat and stale energy drinks, and he muttered under his breath as if answering someone I couldn't hear. "What are you doing, man?" I asked, keeping my voice light even though my chest felt tight. He didn't flinch. "It's not the same every time. The tape changes." I swallowed. "Changes how?" His lips twitched into a half smile. "Shows me things I need to see." That's when I noticed his hands, nails bitten raw, clutching the velvet pouch of teeth like a rosary. "Ethan," I said quietly, "who are you talking to?" He finally turned, his eyes flat and unfocused. "They're telling me what to do." A chill ran straight through me. I didn't ask who they were, I didn't want to know. But one thing was clear. Ethan wasn't fighting it. He was inviting it in. And if I didn't stop him, I had the sick feeling I'd lose him for good. I decided I had to confront him. I couldn't take it anymore. A week of silence, unanswered calls, and the image of his hollow eyes burned into my head. I finally stormed back to Ethan's house. The basement door was ajar, leaking a sickly glow from the TV. Inside, the air was heavy, suffocating, thick with the buzz of static. The tape was still running, endlessly looping the same warped images. Ethan sat cross-legged on the floor, his face lit in flickering gray, eyes glazed like he was watching something far away. "Ethan," I snapped, but he didn't move. When he finally spoke, his voice was a hoarse whisper. "It's not a box, it's a door." He reached out, pressing the velvet pouch of teeth into my hands. My skin crawled at the contact, the weight far too heavy for what it should have been. I wanted to drop it, to run, but my body froze under the oppressive dread clinging to that room. Ethan smiled faintly, lips cracked, eyes hollow. And then, from the couch where we'd left it days ago, the flip phone began to ring. I turned, heart hammering, and froze. On the tiny glowing screen was my number, calling me. My hand shook as I picked up the phone, the pouch of teeth slipping to the floor with a dull clatter. I pressed it to my ear, half expecting silence, half praying for it. Instead, the same distorted static hissed against my eardrum, followed by a low, broken voice. "One box, one life, you decide." The words scraped through me like glass. I looked at Ethan, but he was staring at the TV, transfixed. The VHS had shifted again. The tied figure in the chair was gone. In their place, my breath caught. It was me slumped in that chair, duct tape across my mouth, my eyes rolling in panic as the camera zoomed in. I staggered back, knocking into the couch. "Ethan, turn it off," I shouted, but he didn't move, didn't even blink. The static roared louder, filling the basement until I couldn't tell if it was coming from the phone, the tape, or inside my own head. I dropped the phone and bolted up the stairs, the last image burning into me. Ethan still seated on the floor, his face slack, bathed in flickering light. He never followed, and I'll never know if he stayed or if he was taken. If you take anything from this, let it be this: never order a mystery box. Don't joke about it, don't dare your friends, don't even search for it. I lost Ethan to one, and whatever he became, or wherever he went, I know he's not coming back. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear the phone ring. When I answer, there's nothing but static, and every time I wonder if it's him, or if it's something else, waiting for me to pick the wrong choice. So here's my warning to you. If a package shows up at your door that you didn't order, don't open it. And if you already did, then maybe you understand what I'm going through. Do you think Ethan was taken, or did he choose to stay? Tell me what you believe, because I'm still searching for answers.